Nurse refuses to help man. Thinking he's poor, gets a big surprise later. In a busy city hospital, Nurse Clara was known for her efficiency and her no-nonsense approach. She believed in providing care but had a strong opinion about people taking advantage of the system. She felt her job was to save lives, but her belief in self-sufficiency made her quick to judge those who seemed less fortunate. One afternoon, an unshaven man in worn clothes stumbled into the emergency room, looking fatigued and weak. Nurse Clara noticed his appearance and, assuming he didn't have the means to pay for care, didn't give him much attention. She believed he might be wasting the hospital's resources and dismissed his complaints. However, the man's true identity and story would soon shake Nurse Clara to her core, leaving her with a lesson she'd never forget. This story unveils how snap judgments based on appearances can blind us to someone's true worth, and in Clara's case, how an unforgettable encounter changed her outlook on compassion and humility. It was a bustling day at Riverside City Hospital. Nurses and doctors were hurrying through the corridors, attending to the steady flow of patients. In the middle of it all was Nurse Clara, managing her duties with precision and order. She was known for her dedication, but also for her tendency to show impatience toward patients who, in her view, might not deserve immediate attention. As she completed her rounds, a man entered the ER looking visibly exhausted. He wore a faded jacket, scuffed shoes, and carried a simple backpack slung over one shoulder. His hair was unkempt, and his face looked worn from long days outdoors. Clara noticed him from across the room and watched as he took a seat, clutching his chest and breathing heavily. The man approached the reception desk, struggling to speak as he explained his symptoms. I think I need a doctor. Chest pains, he muttered between breaths. Clara frowned, thinking, another one who probably can't afford this place. She had encountered people like him before, those she believed would receive care without paying. She quietly instructed the receptionist, "Make sure he's got insurance or can pay the copay. We don't have the time or resources for everyone." As the man slumped into a chair, Clara continued with her routine, keeping a wary eye on him. She felt a nagging sense of guilt but justified it by thinking that the hospital had limited resources. She thought, if he can't afford it, there are other places he can go. But Clara's assumptions would soon unravel, leaving her questioning her own actions. As the man waited, he continued to hold his chest and occasionally grimaced in pain. Minutes turned to hours as Nurse Clara avoided giving him attention, hoping he might leave or go elsewhere. Finally, the man mustered the courage to approach her station again, this time looking even more frail. "Please, my chest feels tight. It's getting worse," he whispered, almost pleading. Clara barely glanced up. "Sir, if you're in pain, you might want to go to the clinic down the street," she said curtly. "This is a busy hospital, and we have patients waiting who need immediate attention." The man looked down, clearly hurt by her response. Still he waited, determined to receive help. Other patients and staff began noticing the exchange, but Clara ignored their glances, convinced she was in the right. She continued her rounds, tending to other patients and making sure her tasks were completed on time. After another half hour, another nurse named Lisa noticed the man, who was now sweating and gripping his chest. Concerned, she asked him gently, "Sir, are you okay? You look like you're in a lot of pain." The man nodded, breathing heavily. "Yes, please, I can't afford to wait much longer." Lisa shot Clara a look, disapproving of her colleague's behavior. She knew Clara often judged patients by their appearance, but this time, she decided to take action. Lisa called the doctor over, who quickly examined the man and decided he needed immediate attention. It turned out he was having a serious cardiac issue, and delaying his treatment could have led to severe consequences. Clara watched as the medical team rushed to help the man, realizing her error in dismissing him, but she still had no idea who this poor man really was, and the surprise that awaited her. A few days later, as Nurse Clara was completing her shift, she noticed a buzz of excitement in the hospital lobby. Curious, she joined the gathering crowd, and was shocked to see the very same man, now well-dressed, standing at the entrance. This time he looked confident and was speaking with the hospital director. As she moved closer, Clara overheard the director introducing him to the staff. "Ladies and gentlemen, please meet Mr. James Weston, a major philanthropist and generous donor to our hospital." Clara's heart sank as she recognized the man she had neglected. Mr. Weston, who had come in looking so humble, was one of the hospital's most influential benefactors, having contributed significant funds for patient care programs, particularly for those who couldn't afford it. Mr. Weston noticed Clara in the crowd, and though he smiled politely, his eyes held a hint of disappointment. He addressed the staff, saying, "I came in the other day as a regular patient, hoping to experience firsthand the care and respect we give to everyone, no matter their background." Clara's face turned pale as she realized the weight of his words. She hadn't just neglected a man in need, she had mistreated someone whose generosity kept the hospital running. Clara felt a mix of embarrassment and regret. She approached Mr. Weston after his speech, struggling to find the words. "Mr. Weston, I'm so sorry. I judged you without understanding who you were or the challenges you were facing. I should have helped you." Mr. Weston looked at her, kindness in his eyes. "It's not about who I am, Nurse Clara. It's about remembering that everyone deserves compassion, especially in a place of healing." Clara nodded, humbled. "You're absolutely right. I'm so sorry I lost sight of what it means to be a nurse, to help without judgment." Mr. Weston extended his hand, forgiving her, but his words left a deep mark. Clara vowed from that day forward to treat every patient with the same respect, regardless of their appearance or perceived wealth. Her colleagues noticed her change as she began to approach every interaction with empathy, and patients sensed her newfound warmth and dedication. This story serves as a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving and that everyone deserves respect and dignity, especially in times of need. Nurse Clara's experience shows the dangers of making assumptions based on looks or wealth, and how such biases can lead to serious consequences for those relying on compassion and care. Mr. Weston's gentle response to Clara's mistake was a lesson in itself. True compassion doesn't require validation or praise. It simply requires understanding, patience, and a willingness to help anyone, regardless of background. The moral here is simple, yet profound. Treat others with kindness and an open heart, for you never know who might be in need, or the legacy they carry. Just as Nurse Clara learned, empathy is the foundation of care, and by offering it freely, we build stronger, more understanding communities.